Thank you, most holy, great spirit. Thank you, holy, 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 holy is our God. Holy is that great spirit, even Tata and Zambi, even Sanini Nanini. Oh, for those who know him in the pardon of their transgression of the law. Yes, we ask you, oh, most holy, we ask you to deal with us according to your loving kindness and according to your mercy, that we might be those people that are pleasing to your sight. There's so many temptations, so much trials in this earth. There's so much bloodshed in the earth. So much people are suffering in the earth. Throughout the land that they call the motherland, and that they call this land and that land, but many of us missed the mark by a long shot. Oh, most holy Sanini Nanini, we ask you to deal with us according to these things, that we might be those who would practice those things that you have commanded us, that our ancestors have said that which you have said is what we will do. Yes, we ask you to deal with us and our children and our enemies and all around us, that we might even deal with each other according to your law, according to wisdom, whether it takes a deletion or it takes law or whatever it would take to even bring about a peaceable earth. And we give you the glory and the praise for everything. And we're in chapter 8. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Those of you on TikTok, I'm Tyrone Clay 213, YouTube, I'm Mr. Clay, and Facebook platforms. We thank God for you, and you. Yes. And we're in the book of Enoch, chapter 8, and verse 1. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives. Yes, weapons. These also was used to cut meat. They were used to do things to, cut vegetables and make them into soups and salads or whatever you want to call it. And then shields. Now, this is where the war came in at. And breastplates. This entity they named Azazel. He made known unto them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments and the use of anatomy. In other words, maybe martial arts. And the beautifying of the eyelids for you women. I guess the Egyptians did that stuff. I don't understand it, but anyway, they used the same thing. But they were not, that Egyptian wasn't even taught. They wasn't even shown at this time. The earth was one. In land and the earth was one in people. At this very time, the earth was one land, one people. They all came from Adam. They all came from Adam and Amma. They all came from him. Now, they were showing all the coloring of tinctures, to make fabrics and designs in the fabric. These things were going on way before Egypt. I think you people need to hide under a rock somewhere, or that same Egyptian rock you came from under. It says, and there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and many were led astray and became corrupt in their ways. In other words, because they had all of these things, the women were beautifying themselves. They had their protection. They could do all kind of evil to those who did not know these things and take advantage of them in whatever way they could think as far as evil, from theft to murder to molestation and all these things. Yes. And Semjaza taught enchantments. This is another entity. He taught enchantments and the cutting of roots. This is where this come from. You think that didn't come from over there and over the flood too? It did. Amros, the resolving of enchantments. Barakuyaja taught astrology. In other words, how to tell the judging of times by the stars. Yes, this is where you get your idol worship stuff. Kokabel. Oh, there go that last part, that B name. And the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. In other words, some people, the clouds hold different things, and when it's going to rain and when it's going to storm and all these things. Some of those are useful, some of them are not. They are unto enchantments. And Arakia, the signs of the earth. In other words, you hear the rumblings, you see the seas and all these things. The sun of the signs, and Samsiel, the signs of the sun. and Sariel, the course of the moon. All these things that we know today were taught by spiritual entities. They were taught by these watchers. And these things went with Noah even over the flood. And men perished, and they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Because what? Some men had it and some men didn't. Just like today. You're no different, oppressor. You're no different, those of you who think you're better than the other because of your skin tone, because of your strength, because of your money, because of the texture of your hair. You're still nothing but flesh and blood. But yet, because of what you know and what you have, you exalt yourself over others that have not. And keep them that way so that you remain in your pride. Yes, you do. And chapter 9. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said to one another, the earth made without inhabitants cry. In other words, this was made without inhabitants at first. The voice of their crying comes up to the gates of heaven. Don't you know when you shed blood, it cries to God? It's a symbolic thing, but that spirit, God knows when each one is murdered, when each one is bombed. He knows when each one there's mass destruction. He knows these things. He's hidden from us because he does not dwell in sin. He does not reward sin. Only with death, destruction, and inability is what he rewards sin with. Now you, the holy ones of heaven, verse 3, the souls of men, I'm in chapter 9, verse 3, make their suit saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said unto the I am of ages, or the God of ages, or the Tata Nzambi of ages. Yes, he is the God of gods, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages, and throne of thy glory standeth unto all generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious, blessed unto all ages. In other words, you can know all you want to know about all where you come from, you Indian, you African, you all this, but if you do not follow the holy way of God, follow God as dear children, you wasted your time. You're trying to find out who you are and still gonna die and bust torment wide open because you can't live. You still live in your drudgery, your filth, and your nastiness. When there's a way that you can't go under, neither can you go over it. And that's holiness through the judgment, statutes, commandments of the Most High. Yes. Verse 5. And thou hast made all things, and power over all things hast thou, and all things are naked and open in thy sight. Didn't you hear the psalmist say this before? Thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. Thou seest what Azazel hath done. These are the angels praying. Yeah, that wasn't no Jesus playing. That was these entities. That was Gabriel and all the rest of them. They had a name that the angel was revealing unto Enoch. He said, and see what Azazel hath done, who have taught all unrighteousness on earth, him and his cohorts, his 100, 200 other angels, and their captains of 10. Look what they done. All unrighteousness of the earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were kept in heaven, which men were striving to learn, because why? If you think about the temptation of Eve, you would see. What did she do? First, I think the writer and Paul saw this first. What did Eve do? Eve was deceived into desiring, lusting, or coveting. Either one of those words you can use. After the knowledge and being equal with God, just as the angel was. That's the way the angel that taught her that thing. She saw it was good for food, and she took of the fruit. In other words, you want to be like God over your brother. You want to be Lord over your brother, honor, just like that old foul beast spirit. The angels want to be Lord and foul. They want to be owner of you in that aspect of the word. This is what's going on here. There's a battle for the minds of men and for the hearts of men toward evil. and to take his heart away from the Most High. Yes, the Most High did this to test all men, and they will always be tested. And Simjaza, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates, and they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth and have slept with the women. That's why some of you men are just plain old harlots. Period. Because you still have this same spirit hunting you. You can't stop deceiving and maligning women. You know, women are they're simple creatures in their own right. The only reason the women have the things that they have and they can pay attention to detail and a lot of things because they have been given a sense, because they're the motherhood, because they will have babies and they have to see after the babies and understand and know what this baby's need is. Just like your lion and your monkeys and your antelope, they all watch their babies. This is a nature of the female. Come on, y'all. All right, now. He says, now, they defiled themselves and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has therefore been filled with blood and unrighteousness. Do you not know we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but with principalities and powers? About to knock over the mic, getting happy here. Rulers of the dark world. This is what we're teaching you. They want you to worship them. They want you to think that there is no God, that God is nothing. God doesn't even exist. They're getting you to this point. They're steadily inching in on you, even in this day and time, trying to get you to see there is no God. God is hitting his face from you to try all men. But to those that would order their steps aright and dare to believe God, what does he do? Oh, he shows himself, in that life by itself, and no man can understand it. And the peace of God, which surpasseth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds. Because what? You're obeying the law, commandments, statutes, and ordinance of the Most High. Yes, and your mind is stuck on them because holiness, that is holiness. That is righteousness. It ain't your speaking in tongues. It's not your wardrobe or what you wear. No. It's the life you live. Somebody slap you, slap him back. I ain't talking about no Easter's mess. I ain't talking about no churchy mess. I ain't talking about no slave Bible. I ain't talking about no Bible printed for other things. The law, they cannot do it. The law gives a man liberty. The law makes a man, if a man is subdued, he know how to subdue back. This is what the law does for you. But all that other stuff is that religious people can subdue you, that your enemy can subdue you. But if you go by the law of the Most High, you are forced to be reckoned with. Just like Israel was, if you read in his history. If this was such a sin and break sin, why did they kill? Why did they have to kill and protect themselves and go on the offense and avenge the deaths and avenge their brethren? See, you're missing something. You got brain damage here. Let us go on. I'm getting happy here. He said, and they cannot because of the lawless deeds. See, there was a law put forth for all men there. The law was already in their heart. It was already all over the world, all over everything. Even the world was one at this time. There was no Africa. There was no Americas. There was no Europes. That was named by colonizers. That was named by men of evil stature to divide the land among themselves. But the fact is, there was one earth, one mass land, one sea, one God. One law for all. Yes. Because of the lawless deeds which were wrought on earth. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass. See, God saw these things. And thou seest these things, and thou suffered them. You know, God allowed this. He wanted men to be tested. Not only that, the angels were even tested in this thing with men and mankind. They could not even stand it. I guess that black woman was sure looking good. But anyway, And thou seest these things, and thou dost suffer them. And thou dost not say to us what we are to do to them in regard to these. Yes, God said such a thing. And with that, we're going to say peace.